praying for those who were injured for a full and immediate recovery. To the victims' families, and the people of Southport, I urge you to lean on each other in this wonderful community that you all have built here. I know I speak for the entire state of North Carolina when I say that you are not alone in your heartache or pain. You do not grieve alone. We stand with you. In my faith, it is the community's responsibility to comfort mourners, so we must. And we conclude our mourner's prayer by saying, may the one who brings peace to the universe bring peace to us. Chief Corning, Sheriff Chisholm, Chief Morris, Deputy Director Hawley, Deputy Commander Succo, I want to reiterate my appreciation for your immediate response to apprehend the suspect essentially within minutes of the attack. Your excellent police work may have saved additional lives. We will always be grateful for your resourcefulness and your professionalism. I have faith that law enforcement will continue to work tirelessly until the job is done in this case. And the state, of course, is ready to assist in any way possible to ensure that justice is served on behalf of the victims. One thing is clear: we must do more to prevent these acts of violence. It has to be our top priority. Recent events here in Southport and Charlotte, not to mention Michigan, Utah, Minnesota, and Kentucky, and I'm talking about just in the last few weeks, are clarion calls telling us that we have more work to do to make sure that people are both actually safe and that they feel safe in their communities. We must fix our broken mental health care system. We know that the vast majority of folks with mental health challenges pose no risk to others, but some can. There are too many people in our communities with dangerous obsessions exhibiting threatening behavior who do pose risks. We have got to do better, and I will do everything that I can, and I will work with anyone and everyone who is serious about protecting the people of this state. Folks deserve to be and feel safe in their towns, whether they're enjoying a dinner or praying in church or coming home from work. We must do better to keep people safe. I want to transition and just say a word about the storm, since I'm here on the coast and we are still in a state of emergency. I'm grateful that we're joined by Public Safety Secretary Eddie Buffalo and Colonel Freddie Johnson with the Highway Patrol. We are encouraged that the recent forecasts have shown that the storm Imelda is being pushed further off our coast. But it does not mean that there will not be impacts from this storm felt on land or that we should not be prepared. The combined impact of the two storms, Humberto and Imelda, may cause isolated flash flooding, coastal flooding, ocean overwash, wind gusts, and dangerous rip currents throughout much of this week. The storm will likely linger, and hazardous conditions on the coast may continue throughout the end of the week. So if you're visiting the beaches, please stay out of the water this week. And folks in the east, just be aware that flash flooding may happen in your community. On Saturday, I declared a state of emergency across North Carolina to facilitate our emergency response and to make sure that the assets of the state, the assets at our state's disposal are available to assist any communities with their response needs. The state of the emergency covered the whole state, enabled us to send critical resources from across North Carolina to pre-position them here on the coast. We activated our state emergency response team, which is a consortium of the Department of Public Safety, Department of Transportation, North Carolina National Guard, State Highway Patrol, and our local partners. Thankfully, the change in Imelda's forecast track We hope that these resources are not needed, but they remain ready and available if they are. We always seek to prepare for the worst. At the same time, we hope for the best. Last Saturday's one-year milestone of Hurricane Helene reminds us of the importance of being prepared. Anna and I, our First Lady and I, spent the weekend with our neighbors in Western North Carolina. The milestone event stirred incredible emotions out west. Folks were mourning all that was lost, 108 lives lost in the storm. At the same time, they were celebrating the remarkable progress that they've made, and they're sober in their recognition about the vast amount of work that remains ahead of them. While this weather system is not looking nearly as catastrophic as Helene, thank gosh, know that we're preparing early and knowing that preparing early and following emergency guidance can save lives. My last thought is that in times like this, whether it's in the wake of a natural disaster or a horrific tragedy as experienced here Saturday night, it is more critical than ever that we look out for each other. So I encourage you to reach out to your friends, reach out to your family, reach out to your neighbors. Make sure they're okay. Make sure that they have what they need. And we at the state are committed to doing likewise. Thank you. Happy to take questions, and you can address them to any of the speakers. Yes, sir.
Scott Helen with CBS News here. Can you speak to the specifics in terms of increasing safety and increasing those mental health checks that you were referring to so that what happened here a couple of days ago doesn't happen again?
We need to have a greater integration in our criminal justice system with our mental health care system, because usually it's law enforcement that is the first point of contact with people, either because they get repeated phone calls about a person who may be a risk, but it's not enough to just know that somebody may be a challenge. We've then got to be able to connect that person with the treatment that they need to address whatever their underlying conditions are. There is a great deal that we need to do to improve our mental health care system, and we will be talking more about that in the days to come. I don't know the specifics of this gentleman and whether there are people in the community who were concerned enough about his erratic behavior to have triggered a red flag law provision. I think it's a good idea. There are people in our community who people know are a risk to others, a risk to themselves, and they should not have firearms. And that's what a red flag law allows, is for a judge, through due process, to temporarily remove dangerous weapons from people who are a risk. I think that this public would be well served if North Carolina had a red flag law.
Governor, Faith Bouvier with ABC News. You said we must do more to prevent these acts of violence. Knowing what you know about the suspect so far, could this have been prevented?
I'll have to defer to the locals who know more about him and what his conditions were and what his engagement with local law enforcement was, whether there were family members or neighbors in the area who were concerned. I just don't have enough to say. I don't know if anyone wants to take that question. Okay.
The question is, could this have been prevented, knowing what we know about the suspect?
At this point, it's premature. Yes. We're doing a systematic analysis of our mental health care system and what is needed in order to enhance it so that we have the resources to respond to people's needs. There are too many people who are profoundly troubled, who are obsessed, whose paranoia gets stoked by what they read on the internet every day, and we've got to figure out ways so that those folks don't pose risks to the community.
We'll take one last question. Do we expect any new details about the victims today?
I'm Chief Todd Corn with the City of Southport Police Department. We should have details coming out possibly tomorrow on that. They're still hospitalized. We're still getting information. We're trying to allow the families some time, but we should have another media release coming out tomorrow with additional details.
We heard yesterday one of them was still clinging to life. Is that still the case, or have they been uprooted?
To my understanding, we do have one that is still very critical at one of our area hospitals.
Thank you all.
To that, I'm sorry, real quick, to that point, is it possible just to get an update on their conditions overall, those who are still hospitalized?
Well, I don't have details on that. I don't have clearly enough to speak on that. They're at two different hospitals, and I have not had time to check up on them yet.
So all 5 are still in the hospital?
To my knowledge, yes, the ones that were transported are still hospitalized.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
And he says,
after 77 years, they'll finally learn to not survive off the taxpayer money of 9 different countries, supporting their tax money so that they don't have to. That will be their own. That's why use all the stuff that they hoarded. All the stuff that they hoarded. We should just use it. Then they take our shit. And they can't fix the fucking pothole.
مسكرين كل الشوارع هاي منيح اللي لقيت صفت سيارة صفت